Today on Core Conversations, we have Caroline Dias Pereira. Caroline is the owner of Black Cat Pilates. We spent the time discussing the importance of Black-owned businesses, redeeming the image of Black and working in excellence. As a mother, she highlighted the importance of showing her daughter that she is a queen and that we have the power to make anything possible in our lives. As a resident in Germany, she gave us insight into what it means to be Black in Germany, and I provided insight into life being Black in Canada. The conversation went into a part 2 as we also began to look at Black in Brazil, her place of origin, and how culture tries to correct its wrongs in history. Enjoy the conversation.
First of all, I would like to say Ashe to my brothers and sisters, exclamation for the elders, for my ancestors, for giving me the chance to be here, be in this lifetime. My name is Caroline. I'm originally from Brazil. Been traveling the world for the past 20 years, and I'm living in Germany. I'm a former professional dancer, circus artist. I have been a model. I have worked as an actress and a singer, and I'm a Pilates trainer. Consider myself a classical Pilates trainer, as I try to be as close as possible to what Joe you wish to have. And yeah, that's my story.
Amazing. You have so many hats that you wear there.
Yeah.
And a mother.
And a mother, definitely. I'm a queen. I have my princess.
Yes, exactly. You know, and we talked about that earlier, just in like our chat as we're preparing for this. The notion of a princess has like two connotations, right? Like there's a connotation of being entitled and like, you know, at your service, but then there's also like you're talking about here, like being a queen in training almost.
Definitely, that's for sure. I mean, when I talk about princess, if you look what our children experience what a princess is or how a princess should looks like, my determination of being a princess is power, you know, is understanding where you come from, is understanding why you are here, is knowing that you can do and you can be whatever you put your mind to. That's how I teach my girl.
Yes. How do we temper that message of you can be whatever you want to in this racial climate when you see that there's people who are trying to make sure that you don't become who you want to become?
That's all come, on my point of view, that's all come from education, example, you know. I mean, after being a mother, I realized how much a child will transform or what a child will be by the example that you give it to her.
Yes.
Or to him.
Yes.
And that's my main point of for my child, Honalua, is that I give her my best and I give her the example, look, I'm your mama and I can do anything I put my mind to. I learned 4 languages, I traveled the world, and you know, and I'm here for you, and you just tell me what you wish for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you know, that's like when if you watch when Rad Dockery was on and he was talking about economics and racism, and you know, we start to say, well, what can we do? And you know, we need to pour into the next generation, and we need to wait, you know, we need to empower that generation to be able to affect change. And he said all these good things, but then he challenged it in a way that really inspired me. And he said, we need to give the next generation an example of our wins.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But
you know,
but you can also be, you cannot be always powerful. You cannot be always perfect and always be the perfect example. You also have the right to be weak, to cry, to suffer, because Honalua, she experienced this. Honalua, sorry, is the name of my child. She experienced this really a lot with me, in the sense of she knows when my mama is not, when I'm not able to go to Brazil for my mama's birthday, and I cry when I miss my mama, when I feel some pain, and I'm like, I'm sure my mama would know which tea to give me, which kind of herbs I have to take, which kind of food I need to eat to be fine. And she's like, oh, mama, I really understand you. I cannot imagine be away from you for 1 year, you know, because I go to Brazil every year. And these examples she also has, you know, the most important that she knows listen, you can do it. I'm here,
Yes.
I did it, and you can do it.
Right. Well, wouldn't you still say that's a success? Because if you think, well, and what I mean by that is, if someone sees me fall down, they're going to see me get back up.
Exactly.
That's a success. It's not in never falling down.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, Hanadu experienced me in a way that nobody ever did, because I was on top of my career when I got pregnant of my girl. That's 8 years ago now, and I had a really hard process of the pregnancy because I was only muscles. I didn't have any fat, and the doctors here in Germany was like, no, you have to gain weight to be able to really hold your child. And I was like eating like crazy. I was vegetarian before Hanadua, and I started to eat meat. I was desiring meat, and I put 26 kilos. So it was really a lot for my body. And after the pregnancy, I had a postpartum depression. And the only one that was by my side was Hanalua. My family was all in Brazil. I had few friends, of course, that I never, forget him ever. But she was the one who gave me the strength to go on. Even as a little baby, she was like my mama, you know.
Yes, just like, your encouragement in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see Juliana is here saying that showing vulnerability is true strength. I believe that 100%.
That's my mentor. Juliana Abraham is my Pilates mentor. She's a rock star.
Yes. Yeah. And that's it. I think that sometimes we get into that thing of showing that we can't show weakness, we can't show our imperfections, we can't show our flaws. When the reality is showing our flaws, fighting through those flaws, showing when we fall down, how we brush ourselves off and stand up again. Those are the things that, that show that true strength.
That's for sure. That's 100% sure.
And I think about that with my boys too. Like, they've seen me at some low points, and they've seen how I've been mistreated, or they've seen how something may go wrong, and the way that I respond to it is my strength. Definitely. Not just the victories.
Definitely. That's what makes us, no? We cannot, that's how we grow, how we learn, how we get better, how we just be, no? As a human being, we need to go through those moments. That's all a learning process. When I ask myself, and I'm like talking to my God and Goddess and talk to my ancestors, I'm like, why I'm going through this? And I can hear, you have something to learn. There's a reason why you're going through those things. And just take the lessons of this and go on, and you're going to see how many things and going to change, and how things going to get better.
Yes, those character building moments.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yes,
and
then we just hope at some point that we have enough character built so we can move on with our lives.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yes. No, it's so good. So tell me about Black Cat Pilates.
Black Cat Pilates. Okay, wow. Black Cat Pilates. First, the name came out of knowing that one of the only animals that Joe had in the island of Man during the war was a cat.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's a beautiful combination. Black was literally a statement of who I am, where I come from, my color, my people. So that was how Black Cat Pilates came to life.
Yes. And exactly. You can see, I know, like the subtle suppleness of the way that a cat moves, and there's like all those different things that ties into all that notion of Pilates.
Exactly. And the point of, I'm really a political person, so I tell you right away in that point of view, because I come also from a political family. Okay. And the point of putting the Black Cat was also, we need to see Black people, we need to listen and to hear and to talk the word Black in a good manner, in a good way, in a good direction. Everything what is Black is related to bad, is related in the a wrong way. And if you give the example of being in the boss of a company, or the chef of a company, or the owner of a company who is successful, and it's called Black Cat, that's already the Black. If you take it apart. I'm like, okay, it's a black and the owner is there, you know, and that's a black
Yes.
owner. And that's for me very important.
Yes. That's powerful. And I think that we don't think about that with that same sense of intention. You know, like, because what you're saying effectively is the way that we want to be intentional about associating the term black with good things.
Exactly. That's one of the most important things we have to do.
Yes.
We as a community, we need to make sure that we associated the word black to right things, to good things. That's also one thing that I talk a lot with my best friend. She's actually there, Fernanda, a beautiful, amazing dancer. And we were talking about how we call ourselves as a black person, a colored person, or pretos. Pretos in Portuguese, preto would be the same translation as black, but it's the point of how you actually call yourself, like how you
Identify
call
yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. How do you identify yourself? You identify yourself as a person of color, or you identify yourself as a black man?
You know, it depends on the context. I will say a black man in certain things. I may say something a little more downtone, like simply saying like a brother, or I may say, I may identify my heritage and say that I'm a second generation Jamaican. You know what I mean? So like there's certain ways in certain contexts that I identify myself. So that's, but I see what you're saying with that. So, but yeah, a black man is the primary identifier that I use.
Definitely. That's, I mean, it's, you know, one example I had actually was really funny. Last week I was with my girl outside, and that's the first time, like every time I see a black person, we always say hi. And
Yes.
I was walking with Hanalua on the streets, and there was a black man, and he say hello to me. And she was like, Mama, do you know this guy? I'm like, Philia, yes, I know him, Philia. That's a brother. And then I had to give her a whole history lesson right on spot so she understands what I mean. I'm like, Philia. And then I told her, because the point is we cannot give our children, that's the way how my parents also educate me, coming from a privileged family with which I had everything. I studied private schools. I had everything what I needed to. I said to my child, okay, we stop right here. Now look in front of you. Look how full is the city. We live in the old town of Hamburg. And then I say to her, how many black people do you see in front of you? She say, none, Mama. I say, that's the reason why. We black people, we say hi because we say like, okay, I see you. You know,
I see you.
You know, and that's the click that she has to understand, like you're not alone. And that's come all about down to the education, the way how she approaches the world, the way how she sees outside. When she does see a black girl or a black child, a black boy, she's like, oh Mama, there is a black boy and there's a black girl. Let's go there and let's say hi. I'm like, let's say hi.
Right.
You know, that's how we start to build this understanding and compromise to the community, you know, compromise where she comes from.
Yes. I understand that completely. And I train my boys. And it's always funny when your kids finally like, do you know him? Like, wow, you know every black person. It's like, well, no, yeah. You explain that, right? Now I've had barbershop conversations where they would say, you know, why do you call yourself black when your skin is brown? Why don't you just identify yourself as African, since all people originate from Africa? And his argument was, you're an African. You're not even a Jamaican, because the Jamaicans came descendants from Nigeria originally. So if you were to say you're African, that is accurate as well. So why did you choose that identifier? Why did you not choose African as your identifier?
Listen, it's quite of a hard subject to discuss, because I will come down to this point, okay? I don't have a German passport. I have a permanent residence here. Because of course my child is half German, so I have the right to have the passport. But the point comes to the point that if I would take a German passport, I would have to give up my Brazilian passport. And I said to myself, no, I'm Brazilian. I was born in Brazil. My parents are there, my family is there, my grandparents, my heritage, my history, as I know, is in Brazil. And then come the history that we say about where my people come from. My great-great-grandparents come from. They were people who came to this land and got enslaved now, because that's one thing that I make sure that when I see a Black person talking about they slaves, I'm like, they were not slaves, they were humans. They were
enslaved.
Enslaved, thank you. You have to
Yes,
correct
yes,
me,
yes.
because I'm also like
That's a
trying to be
good,
calm, because
yes.
I am a little bit nervous.
No, you're doing great. But like I've never heard someone correct that. Like you've said two things already, Carolina, that have blown me away. One is the intentionality of your titles and stuff, so people have a positive image of Black Cat associated with a successful business. Black, you know what I mean? Instead of the negative terms of like the black sheep of the family, or I hate black licorice. So I'm like, black licorice is the worst tasting. You know what I mean? So like whatever, I say that in jest. But like I'm saying that like those things. But now what you're saying also about the fact that people are enslaved. They're not slaves. That's not their identity. That's something that happened to them. Those are two different things, and I will change my wording from now on, because that is so true.
Please do. If you ever use the word slaves, that's one of the biggest crimes for us, a Black person, to make, is to call our ancestors slaves. They were not slaves. And that's what all comes down to history. Now it's such a hard way. I mean, we can talk, trust me, for hours. And I'm going to visit you in Canada one day, and we're going to sit together, and we're going to talk about all those things, because that's not going to be possible in an hour from Instagram. But that's very important for people to understand what our people went through.
Right. Sorry. So go back to your story then. So you're saying like your family.
So my family comes from Brazil. And that's what I know. That's where my roots is. So I cannot say, I don't see me saying I'm brown, because the definition of my people, we are Black people.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm also trying, you know, I'm really in a really big process of understanding everything that's happening around the world, and understanding how I'm going to define myself in this society.
Yes.
But as long as the majority of the world call us Black people, and we are the ones who are being oppressed since hundreds of years, I'm going to classify myself as a Black person, because I want to stand together with you and everyone else who looks like me and say we are together. That's the way how they call us.
Yes. And to add to what you're saying right there is, not only are you identifying with what they're already calling us, but you are also going to redeem that term to make it a powerful, positive term.
Definitely. We need to make sure to make a positive term of how we are, who we are. So if you name yourself as having a Black business, like Black Cat Pilates is an example for me, is associating with good things. And that's for our children. That's a powerful thing. That's very important, that the children see a Black princess. I have like all the pictures of the single princess that we know, from Elsa to Rapunzel, whatever, being a Black girl. And I said, here, my child, that's a princess, you know? I have my parents who is like sending me books of Black families. That's coming to another subject also. That's, we're gonna take 2 hours to talk about it.
I know, right? What did your sister say there?
My sister is in Salvador, the most amazing place in the world. I tell you.
So what is that her comment there?
Yeah. She says she has back pain, that if we can go there to help her.
Yes. Absolutely. No, that's good stuff already, Caroline. I love that. I'm thinking about that for myself, because in Canada, we talk about what Black in the USA looks like, or what Black in different places look like. And in Canada, it's not as pronounced, it's not as blatantly racist. There's a different culture because of the diversity. So when we talk about Black-owned businesses and all those sort of things here, I almost feel like it's suffice to have a successful business, and then people realize that it's run by a Black person, instead of advertising that it's a Black-run business, as if to say there's good businesses and then there's Black businesses. I want my business to be good or better than or alongside every other business, and it's run by a Black person. So it doesn't, I don't have to necessarily advertise it. So your approach is fantastic. But I don't want there to be a negative undertone of it being a step down because it's a Black owned business. I want it to be, it's a step up because it's a Black
That's
business.
for sure. That's for sure. Now, I mean, that comes also from the point of which kind of standard to give to your work. So
Yes.
the point is, of course, the judgment is already, that's not going to be a good business. Or let's put it Pilates as an example. No?
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't own yet. I mean, I own on my mind, on my imagination,
Yes.
my own space, my own studio, but I work for a great studio here. And the studio is one of the most expensive areas in Hamburg. And I'm the only Black woman there.
Yes.
We are only 2 trainers, so they don't have an option. Both
Right.
of them, that Ronaldo Borges is a good friend of mine too. He's Brazilian, but he's a light-skinned Brazilian.
Okay.
So does not mean that he's not Black. That's something that we have to make clear right there. But when people come to us, that's very important. They see a successful business owned by a white person, but who is giving the service is a Black woman.
Yes.
And I make sure that my service are in the highest level.
Yes.
That's it.
Right. But that's who you are as a person. That's not who you are as a Black person. That's just the core of who you are that comes out.
Yeah, that's both, my mom.
Both.
I'm together.
Yes.
Definitely as a Black woman, and the quality of my work, my education, my ideals, the way how I approach my clients, they are all directed to give them the best I have.
Yes. Yes. Nice. How did you find Pilates?
Oh, that's really okay. That's gonna go back long, my amor. Okay. First, I started my whole dance career since I was 4.
Okay.
At school, and I was doing ballet and jazz and everything else. At 7 years old, my parents, my father especially, say no more ballet because I was so much into it. But of course, I'm gonna try to make a little bit shorter, so I won't tell the whole story. But for my father, was like, you know, him being a Black man in a high standard and suffering the discrimination that he was suffering every day. He didn't want us to go through it.
Be subjected to it. Yes.
Exactly. So his idea, and the many people has idea, that we need to be doctors. We need to be, you know, called sir and doctor.
As a title.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And my father said, no, that's not what you're going to be. I'm like, not an option. So my father took me out of dance. And then I went back to dance again at 12 years old. Then I was old enough to say, listen, I would like to do this. I love this. It's just on me. So I started dancing, and I have to say something quickly about this. I have been really blessed, first because Brazil, and especially where I come from, we are the blackest country and the blackest city in the world outside of Africa. So I was blessed to have Black teachers, Black references, you know, Black education.
Rare.
Dance, learn African dance. That was my background. You know, be a capoeira. You have to learn capoeira. So all this martial arts and ballet and modern and jazz was all coming to me from a Black perspective.
Yes.
Which was quite amazing. That's really grounded my formation. And from that perspective on, I did a really hard study on Matagram. That I consider that being my first Pilates experience, because Matagram itself, she has her connection with Pilates. She has her how to say contribution into the Pilates technique, and then I can see that. Okay, so that's one thing. And then I traveled the world. I studied in Ailey, and then I got a scholarship in Dance of Harlem, and then I was in New York. And in New York, I didn't know nothing about Pilates. Trust me, today I'm so in pain because when I was there,
you're in the Mecca and you didn't know it.
I would have met everyone. I would have met Katie Grant. I would have met Romana. You know, and Katie Grant is the woman for us.
Yes.
and she was alive, and I was there 20 years ago. I'm like,
Oh.
how is that possible? So anyway, when I came to Europe and I
Oh
came
boy.
to Holland, I was working then for Broadway, and then I was working for the Lion King in Holland.
Okay.
And there is where I had my first lesson with a lady called Carol.
Okay.
She was American. I don't know her last name. That's really, really, I feel so bad today about this, that I don't know who she actually was.
Yes.
But I was dancing the Lion King, and I was doing a hard track. I was the cheetah, and then I was the ballet. So I was like a soloist in the show. So I was doing the ballet every day, and I was being the cheetah, and I was full active doing ballet and jazz every day. And I came across the studio where she was teaching me Pilates. I was doing the reform, I was doing everything, and that's how I came across Pilates first place.
Oh, amazing. So it wasn't like you were like injured and hobbled into the studio. You just
not at all.
Okay.
Just trying to push myself. I mean, no more, our people, and especially wherever we are always pushing further,
Yes.
And I was eating everything that I could take for my body to be better, to get better, to get to the level of perfection.
Yes.
For me,
for you.
as I could, and that's how I came to Pilates first.
Wow. So what made you decide to teach it?
Okay, then I come to Germany.
Okay.
I came to Germany also for the Lion King, and I just got transferred, and I was having some Pilates training also in the studio or in the theater from one of our colleagues. And after the birth of my child, which I had a really hard birth, I had 17 hours, and in the end of the day, they have to go for a C-section, which definitely kills me.
Yes.
And I could not understand what was happening to my body. I think as a dancer, and I'm sure many people who are watching, and some people who has been a dancer or even an athlete, they can relate it because they don't know what their body cannot do. I can't do anything. I could do anything with my body. I was always extremely flexible. I was really strong. I was like
invincible.
I was dancing until 7 months, Memo, and I went back on stage after 3 months operation.
Yes.
And that was my biggest mistake because just broke my entire body.
Yes.
And then I came to Pilates. Then I heard about Juliana Afram, who is here.
Yes.
And that's another thing that I'm extremely grateful for, because I'm in Germany, I'm a white country, and I come to a studio, and my mentor is a beautiful black woman, a black queen, and she was my mentor.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. And so you decided to teach it, like at that point, like were you taking a teacher training program or?
Yeah, I did the teacher training program from the late Bob Lincolns. I'm sure he is now in heaven with Pilates. From Power Pilates, now Pilates Standard.
Yes.
And I did the whole teacher program, the comprehensive program. It started for almost 2 years, was crazy, but was really, really fantastic.
Yeah. Yes. That's amazing. That is amazing. I talk just about, when people are so passionate about Pilates and then they kind of discover that this is what they want to do. I love hearing how people found Pilates or how Pilates found them.
Yeah, I think first of all, I was like wondering what I was going to do, because after the birth of my child, I was like, being in Germany and raising my child, if I would choose to go back to the theater, if I would choose to take 8 shows a week and playing the Lion King, my child would be raised by a white German babysitter. Not an option. So I had to make a choice. I'm completely satisfied with my career. I have been everything that I wanted.
Yes.
So I was like, I need to make an option now, or I go back to school and get back all my degrees and start again to be in the physiotherapy field or whatever. I'm not a dance teacher. That's not my style.
Okay.
So Pilates for me was an option that say, okay, I can be me. I like power training. I like people who works hard.
Yes.
And I can feel this in the first training. After the pregnancy, I started to do Pilates with Juliana. And then I could feel on my body, okay, that's the work that I need to do.
Yes.
That's it.
This is it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And one of the lines that you've said in the past is that you can heal your own body.
Exactly.
So can you talk about that?
Yeah, this comes from the fact of I'm a little bit like obsessed with Pilates in a way, you know. So in a good way, because I'm like
As am
reading
I.
yeah,
Go on.
it's crazy, mi amor. You don't understand me. If you get to know me a little bit more, you're gonna be like, this woman is not normal.
Okay, she's like
okay.
next level. Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm like buying all the books, reading all the books, checking all his. I have like 3 different biographies of Pilates. I'm like reading the books and understanding, because that's also come from us. Now, as a dancer, we
Yes.
train 8 hours a day. It's go, not more. You know, you
Yes.
do 2 periods today, tomorrow you wanna do 5. So in Pilates, I use the same approach as a dancer, and I try to make myself understand more and get even better in what I'm doing.
Yes.
So Pilates himself is not only effect of putting on the reformer or on the Cadillac, on the chair, whatever, and just sweat, you know. And that's the difference. That comes from your mind. That's your understanding of a body, mind, and soul.
Yes.
Type of workout. You have to make sure that your brain is not, that your body is not telling your brain what to do, but it's the opposite.
Other way. Yes.
So that's exactly. So that's why I say it's a mind work that you have to make sure you can do it.
Yes, exactly. I had a friend when we were growing up, and we'd go down in his basement and work out. You know, we're all trying to get big for football, and we're like 15, 16, 17, and his older brother would be down there, and he used to say to us, the body cannot go where the mind hasn't been.
Exactly. That's exactly the way how people should see it. And I tell my clients, okay? So I will tell you a little bit. My clients, most of my clients are business people.
Okay.
Now, so it's quite of a special connection I have with my clients. I'm like, here, I'm the boss. You do what I'm telling you. Mi amor?
Yes.
That has to be clear right away. And I'm like, here, I'm the boss. You do what I'm telling you to do. Because listen, if you look, most of the people come from the fitness business. Now they are used to go to the fitness. They don't know what to do. They get like first day introduction. All you can do is this machine and this machine.
Yes.
And I taught when I finished my education. I taught for first 6 months in a really well-known, like really expensive kind of fancy fitness club here. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Fitness club here. And I had like 45 people on my lesson. I had to wear a microphone and stand on the stage, and I was finishing. Yes. I was like calling the father of my child, calling my friends, crying, like, guys, I can't do this. Yeah, I can, because the mentality of many people who go to fitness clubs, they pay and they say, okay, I have a card, I can go to the fitness club now, I'm fit. You know, they come to the lesson and they think like the teacher gonna say abdominals in, breathe in, and now lift the weight, and they're gonna think like the words of the teacher are gonna make them
change them. Right.
Exactly. Yes. So in Pilates, I'm like, no, mi amor, you have to work. Vamos. You have to give it to me.
Yes.
If you don't give it to me, it's not gonna happen. So that's the way how it works with my clients.
Like Dennis said that 2 weeks ago. He said like people come into this building and they check their body off for an hour. They just check it in and leave their body for an hour and expect you to change it for them.
Exactly.
And you're like, no, you got to put the work in.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to sweat. One of my clients, he's not here. He's not on social media, but I just taught him before I see you. And he was like, yeah, I was thinking about going back to the fitness club too, maybe do 2 times there and 2 times with you. I'm like, why? Yeah, because I want to feel a little bit more my arms, and I said, okay, give me 1 week.
Let's go. Yeah.
Well, he's with me now for 2.5 years. Like, I don't need a fitness club. He's like, I'm showing you, and I love to train guys. That's something that you talk about before with our sister Nikita.
Yes.
I love training guys, and that's what's gonna also with Dana. And I have a lots of guys on my clients. There are lots of men. So I'm like challenging them to the top.
Right. Well, the guys, I always say, like, you know, if I've been doing a bench press and a squat, it's quantifiable. I know I'm getting better because I did 20 pounds and now I do 30 pounds. And when they come into the Pilates room, we can create that same sensation of, here's a gold star exercise I know you can't do today, but we're going to build up to this point. And then they can see progress day over day.
Exactly.
And they'll never leave you.
Exactly. And the point of Pilates is not just the fact that we don't have the power weights that you have with the fitness, but if you walk on the fitness and watch what the people are doing, how they are doing.
Yes.
Yeah? You can see the subtle problems of the alignment of their bodies, which is going to change complete the perspective of the exercise and completely change the way how the movement will be and how hard it will be. So when I put my clients to do an arm series on the Cadillac or on the tower, when I put them and say, okay, give me boxing.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's easy. I'm like, okay, that's not easy enough for me. Let's see. And then let's see, come a little bit forward. Give me more forward. Hold your abdominals. Hold your legs parallel or hold your legs in Pilates position. Whatever position you're going to choose to work with the clients depends on the condition of the possibilities they can do. Then they can say like, oh my God, I didn't know that this was so hard. You know?
But that comes from, and Caroline, that comes from your knowledge of Pilates as how can I put it? The number of exercises in your toolbox. Right. So like, for example, if going back to the bench press example, if I want to make my bench press harder, I can add more weight, but then I have to think about other variables. In the Pilates studio, I can change those variables without adding more weight. Change your foot stance. Do this, lean forward, lean back. So the more we know, the more tools we have in our toolbox, the more challenging we can make our workouts for our people without just adding weight per se.
Exactly.
And they can get stronger like in their weakest links, right?
Exactly. And the point is like when I say to my clients, okay, let's go back to basics. And they're like, oh my God, basics is harder than the challenge exercises. I'm like, no, you gotta go back there to make sure that this one is getting better. You know, that's the way how it should be. And I thought, I got an invitation from a fitness club also to teach. And they give me a challenge hour. They say, okay, I'm gonna get few people, some of our instructors to do a lesson with you. And they have all those bodybuilder guys. I was so scared because I'm a small person. I mean, I don't like to say small because, you know, as a dancer, we have all these issues about sizes. But anyway, I am a small person.
It's a side conversation.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then come all those guys, you know, 4x4, huge arms. I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be fun, you know. They cannot leave the floor from the 100. Even to do push-ups, you know, they cannot do the Pilates push-ups the way how it should be. They cry. I'm like, how are you doing this? You so much say, don't touch me. Don't stay away from me because it's too big. But just watch me, you know. And that's the way how we can show people that's what Pilates can do.
Right. And I love, like, all those examples come back to what Joseph Pilates said about really the point of Pilates is ease of life. So when we do all these things and we get strong in our weak areas and get strong in those areas that we didn't even think about, it makes the rest of the stuff in our life easier.
Exactly.
Which is really the point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So good. But so we jumped off on, I'm going to go on another complete tangent, but you said about
give me
body image.
Okay.
And you just said about like size and all these different things that we struggle with in terms of body image. How do you handle that in the Pilates studio with your clients when they come and say, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that, I need, you know, when they come to you and they have these body image based goals?
I love this.
Do you?
I tell you, I love this because I tell my clients, I say, listen, I have ladies who are round. They are beautiful. For me, they are hot. I'm like, mi amor, my legs are too big. It's no, your legs are not too big. Your legs is hot. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Second thing is there are clients who has the perfect look.
Yes.
They cannot move half of my girls who are from 4, who has a big body. So I always make sure, and that's something that's part of my my training, and that's something that I bring to the table every day, every single training I have. I'm like, you are perfect how you are.
Yes, let's start there. Yes.
Exactly. You are perfect how you are.
Yes.
Now, where's the problem? Where do you have pain? Where is the alignment that's not correct, you know? And that's where we have to see. The abdominals, the muscles, they are under. This is fat. That's all good. That's something that you can work on. Something that you can work yourself on. Work on your diet. Check what you have to eat. Check with a professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietist, so I don't tell you what to do. But I tell you, here, you are perfect. Now, let's see what we can do to make it better.
Yes.
And that's the approach.
Sign me up. I love that. That's exactly what people need to hear. Because I mean, we come at it with problems. Like we can pretty much throw the whole word problem out the door and say, okay, so now that we've established and we understand that you are perfect right where you are.
Exactly.
Where do we want to go from here?
Exactly. One of the greatest exercises that I always give them as an example is like single leg kick, nah?
Yes.
Like this is like one of the most famous exercises for all the fitness clubs. They put all those fake boobies and fake asses. I'm like, I was born with this beautiful ass. I'm Brazilian. I'm black. So, you know, there's nothing we can talk about it about body and boobies and whatever. So I always tell them, look, those girls, what they are doing, those examples, they are not reality. First of all. Second, this is not how the exercise is supposed to be done. Look at their backs. Look at their belly. You know what I mean? So I give them those kind of examples.
To put it back in perspective, eh?
Exactly. So they don't look to these examples like, oh, I want to be like this. Don't try to be like no one. Be you. And from there we can work.
Yes, exactly. Mind Body Miller has a comment here. Reminds me of the Ram Dass quote where speaks to the trees being just as they should be, just like humans are beautiful and perfect too.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah.
And I think we need, and Dana and we spoke about that, just you give yourself permission to be who you are. And, you know, or when we're talking with Darren too, about not projecting and looking at the perfect image of someone else and thinking that this, and comparing the less perfect example of ourselves to that perfect image. You're tearing that image down by saying, well, that's not exactly perfect. That's not really the gold star. That's not the goal. You are the goal. Like you are perfect already.
Exactly. You know, I have situations in the studio, like less experiment I did because I'm like studying or doing courses around. I just did a course with Dana that was really fantastic. The return project was beautiful. 6 weeks with Dana was fantastic. And of course, a shout out for her. But I was talking to my clients and talking about body image, you know? So we look, one thing that we have to talk about it in general, and that's what Roxy also say on her writings for Pilates Anytime about talking about race.
Yes, I read that. Beautiful.
Trained, that was really fantastic. But one thing that she's saying that's really clear, that's really important, that people need to hear this. You cannot judge that everyone that comes to your studio has a lordose, especially if you talk about a black woman.
Right.
I don't have a lordose anymore. I'm a guitar, so I'm perfect.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I have the curve that every single woman wants to have. Now, coming back to Germany, the people, they have a different body posture. And then you have to go also back to culture. That's where we come also to the whole prospect of race, white, black, whatever you want to, however you want to differentiate. But not forgetting that we are raised in Brazil. You come to Brazil and you're going to see the girls walking on the streets and, you know, moving. You know, the same thing, I believe that you're going to feel the same thing in Jamaica.
Right.
Now, you come to Europe and you come to Germany or you come to different countries around here, people, they are conservative. So the people, they tuck their hips in. They're not allowed to put their hips out and walk in the streets. When somebody walk in the streets with their hips out and move a little bit, that's normal movement of the body. Everybody's watching. So I put all my girls in the room. Everybody walk. Let's go. Walk. Now, show me your ass. I don't see it. Move. You know what I mean? You gotta move. You gotta be you. You gotta be a woman. You gotta be a man. You just have to be. Your body is not gonna determine who you are. Your body is not gonna determine which kind of personality or heart or mind you have. That's all inside. You know what I mean? The body is something else. And that's the way out physically we can work together with our clients. Watch the culture. I don't know how is it in Canada. I don't know how the women they're walking. But in Brazil, we walk, we have our asses, we have to move, you know, and it's beautiful. And that's the way how the body should be moving.
Right, right. And I hear what you're saying there, like we were saying earlier about healing your own body. The notion that we are, as fitness professionals, as Pilates instructors, we're coming alongside them in their fitness journey. We're not doing this journey for them, but we're allowing them to come alive. We're allowing them to find themselves. We're allowing them to accept the beauty of who they are and just give that expression and
Exactly.
and enhance those things.
Exactly.
Instead
That's
of
it.
change and take away and all those different stuff.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is I have to say I'm really privileged with my clients. I have amazing clients.
Yes.
By the way, one of them, I hope he's somewhere there. He came yesterday to train with me. We just started open the studios here, like we are allowed to teach personal training already for a while, but a lot of people, they are Germans, they are quite correct, you know, so they are like, okay, we stay home, we use the mask, we take all the precautions, which is great. That's why the country is stable.
Yes.
And then he came yesterday just to know the level of my clients, and he brings this to my child. When you talk about race, no? He brought this to my child.
Oh.
This is Rosa Parks.
Yes, beautiful.
You know, and he brought a children's book from my Angelo. No?
Oh, beautiful.
So this, of course, I talk to them about me and my child, and that comes for us talking about race also, to make sure that people understand what we are fighting for.
Yes.
It's not a fight against you, white person right now. It's what your heritage have done and what you are doing right now.
Yes.
That's something that's very important. We're not calling every single white person a racist. Of course, there are tons. I mean, I'm in Germany. I'm safe in Hamburg, but there's still places that I cannot go. There are places in Germany that you are not allowed to walk, and me too, because they probably will kill us. There's still Nazis here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But they have a level of understanding of what it is happening.
Yes.
What has happened in their history, and they don't want to repeat it. And that's when we come to the point of talking about why are Germans so conscious and aware about their history, and why is white people not conscious about their own?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Why in Germany you're not allowed to sit in a place, in a public place, and talk about Hitler or Nazis? You're gonna get put out of the room.
Yes.
But slaves, enslaved people or slavery, this is normal to talk about. It's normal to make fun of. It's normal to have a black face and a red lips.
Yes.
Here, if you lift your hands as Hitler did, you can go to jail.
Wow.
That's the way how they're educated. Because you asked me about the climate on race in Germany, and I don't want to lose the time because we don't have so much time more.
Just like 4 minutes, but
exactly. But I will try to be really brief because I told you we're gonna have to have 3 hours anymore. It's not gonna happen in an hour.
I know, right? Yeah.
That would be, even my South African friends are here. So when you talk about this, we had, of course, what happened to George Floyd, the assassination of George Floyd influenced the entire world, you know?
Yes.
And here in Germany, we had a protest. We have more than 14,000 people in Hamburg protesting against racism. Now, you gotta put this in perspective and think, Mike, okay, in Germany, how many black people are living in Germany? Where, from these 14,000 people, how much black you would see if you look is a sea of people. Now you look from outside, you can pick the blacks because the rest, they're all white fighting because they know their history. And that's the biggest problem that we are suffering as a black community, is not having our history properly told.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Our people, they were not slaves, they were enslaved.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Our people, they were stole, abused, killed to be able to build this world, because we build everyththing.
Right.
If you look at history and you look every single European
civilization
country, that doesn't matter. Brazil, we're gonna have another hour to talk about Brazil. I tell you, we need a whole another hour.
Do you have a half hour? Do you want to log off and come back on for another half hour?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
I do.
let's do it. I'm sure everyone's like, more.
Yes,
encore.
we come back.
Okay, I'll log off and come back in.
Yeah.
Let's back up. Now that we're not rushing, trying to cram the whole history of Black people in Germany into 3.5 minutes,
Okay.
can you recap just what you're saying? I just kind of musing on that about the whole piece about recognizing their history, respecting the history, and how that is treated.
Okay. So here in Germany, there is a really huge, let's say, people in Germany, they carry the whole history on in their backs. You know, there are people, let's say, people here, they're ashamed of their past. Does not mean that they know that. Okay, let's put it like this: they know their history.
Yes.
You know, they know how everything happened and what has happened.
Yes.
So, and they don't want this to happen again. So when I talk to you and say to you that you're not allowed to sit in a cafe and talk about, if you talk loud about Hitler or Nazis in the streets, you're gonna get called out.
Wow.
You're gonna get that. I would say, how you say this in English? Wait a second. They're gonna throw you out of a restaurant or a cafe.
Really, they'll kick you out
about Hitler and Nazis. They don't accept it, and I'm really grateful for this. I'm really, for me, it's unbelievable about their whole history and how they handle the situation. So when we talk about racism and we talk about Black people, I mean, imagine that Germany, they pay until today people that suffer from that time.
Wow.
There are no recognition in the white civilization of what has happened.
Right.
How did this all happen? I mean, if you look at Brazil, I will go to Brazil for 5 minutes because Brazil is a different word for many of us. Even for me as a Brazilian, we have incredible people in Brazil fighting. We have a huge movement. I come from a family where my papa, we had everything, but my papa was like, you know what? Let's go in the street. Let's fight for the teachers. Let's fight for the people who are cleaning. Let's fight for the people who doesn't have the right conditions to work. I saw this my daily life. I saw this as a child. I saw my papa come home completely beat up from police. You know what I mean?
Wow, yes.
Just because he was there fighting for the workers, for the company that he was the boss. But he was one of the boss, you know? That's the point when you talk about having a Black person on the table. If you have one Black person on the table, the 10 other ones are white, you are alone. You have no chance. And that was my papa's history, you know? He was the only Black on the table, and he was completely in the side of the workers. And at the end of the day, he said, okay, I'm going down to them. I'm going to go protest with them because if I don't have voice here with you, maybe we're going to hear them. And that day, he almost got killed. And I saw my papa at 5 years old. I saw my papa completely broke because he was down the streets fighting against the company that he was one of the boss on.
Wow.
But he's minority, you know what I mean? So So anyway, so that's the
context.
Gravity of the problem back home. Back home, we have a problem of corruption. We have a problem of education. We had a terrible colonization. In Brazil, we have 56% of the community, of the population, not community. 56% of the population in Brazil is Black. And Black people is still the most marginalized. There's no country in the world that kill more Black and LGBTQ plus community as in Brazil. In Brazil, a Black person is killed every 23 minutes. Mi amor, that's killed by different proportions, by different proportions, I mean, different circumstances and situations, but that's what is happening in Brazil. So we are also fighting there. We have incredible people, amazing people in Brazil that are working for it. And here in Germany, there's also happening a lot of things. Like I said to you before, you cannot go to every single place in Germany. You won't be able to be there because they will kill you. You know, that's the point. I'm also like part of the Black Lives Matter here in Germany. We have the Black Power in Germany. We have the Black Lives Matter in Hamburg. So this whole is a small society still because, of course, the Black community is not so big here, like in France, for example. But there is a community here. And the point is we need to educate our children. We need to educate our community, where you come from, why you are here, what has happened. Because it's really easy to say, I don't want you in my country. I don't want you to come here. But why you don't want me to come here? You came to my country. You killed my people. You raped my parents. you destroy my culture, my history, my religion, my heritage. You burn down my entire life. And
Yes.
your ancestors took my ancestors here. So
Right.
now I have to rebuild. How am I going to rebuild when I don't know anything else?
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
And it's interesting, you know, and hearing that story and painting the picture of what it looks like in Germany, I see how Canada is so far behind in that process of acknowledging the wrongs of their past. We
Mm.
are, like, if you saw some of my posts just recently, I'm just discovering pieces of Canadian history that have been erased from the history books,
Yeah,
things
I
that we're,
saw.
you know,
Mm.
and it's absolutely fascinating to me. It's enraging as well, the things I'm learning at 45 that I should have learned at 11 in, you
Mm.
know, in school. But those are the things that, like you're saying, it's amazing how Germany has recognized the wrong, and then they write the path for some people, for some pieces of history, but not for others. I think Canada's still way behind in that process, where when they look at their past and people expose their past, you see how literature still shifts it in such a
Definitely.
way that
Definitely.
there's
Yeah.
like they were no there's excuses for it. They're not owning it.
The first thing that you have to know, Martin, is that the whole school system is completely corrupt. Our children,
Absolutely.
they don't learn the history of where they come from. They learn,
Right.
if you go to Brazil, Brazilian will learn about Europe being the world, and we
Yes.
learn about the history of black people being slaves. They not
Yes.
learn how we got enslaved.
Right.
We are not slaves, we are humans, you know, and
Hmm.
that's the process that we have in Germany. I'm really curious because my girl is just in the third grade now. She's going to
Yes.
third grade this year. They didn't come yet to the point of talking about history because here we have a different process of learning,
Hmm.
how to say,
Like
system.
curriculum, the curriculum.
Exactly. They have a
Yes.
completely different curriculum.
But you're
But
ready
I'm really
though.
excited how she's gonna learn.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it, Memo. You don't understand. I can show you my books here. I have my
Yes.
wall full, and I'm ready
Yes.
to tell her everything I know. But
Yes.
the point is, one example is I saw that in America not so long ago. I don't know exactly name where it is or how long ago it was, but now they have a Black history, Black museum in
Yes. In
Brazil.
Washington. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Just
Oh.
it's new. It's nothing old. It's new. Nah? In
Okay. Yeah.
Brazil, it's the same thing. We don't have a museum for the Black history,
Mm.
for where my people come from.
Yes.
Here in Germany, basically every camp, every torture camp,
Yes.
um, there are museums. Every single
Yes.
one is a museum.
Yes.
I'm
Right.
not saying that German is perfect, that the Germans are perfect, that everything
No. No.
here
No.
is beautiful in colors, but just the fact that they recognize their
Yes.
mistakes, the fact that
Right.
they are not allowed to talk about it,
Hmm.
but they also have a really um, question democracy,
Okay.
because, for example, you can make any protest you want. You want to have a protest about Jamaica, you live in Germany, you go to the Rat House, you get a permission, the police is going to be there to protect you, to make sure
Wow.
that your protests can go. You can go from A to Z, and from there you have to get out. You're not allowed to burn anything, to destroy anything, blah, blah, blah. You have the
Yes.
police protecting you as a protester. Now,
Wow. Yes.
now, but then we come to the point that the Nazis also want to do protests here. During the high peak of all the people who were coming, the immigrants were coming during the
Yes.
war in the eastern side of our world.
Hmm.
So there was this huge boiling,
Yes.
situation
Yes.
that we came to the point where a lot of people, they're like, I don't want to have immigrants. So all the Nazis got together, Germans, Russians, Polish, all of those Nazis, they have contacts. They got together. They want to come to protest in Hamburg. Well, Hamburg is a multi-cultural city.
Yes.
Here, they don't enter. The football team, São Paulo, one of them, São
Yes.
Paulo is like black, is white, brown, and red. Here that we can all be in.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
when the Nazis arrived in the station, the central station from here, they were received by more than 10,000 people. Get out, go on.
Why?
Here,
Yeah.
there's no protest using Nazis, but they do get a permission to do the protest because they say that's democracy. So
I see.
it's a little bit of a complicated situation, you know, to understand, because they want to keep the idea that that's a democratic
everyone's welcome, but
exactly.
yes.
But so when they allowed Nazis to go on the streets, then you question, like, how do you allow Nazis to exist and to come and to protest against me and against every immigrant that comes, when that's part of the history that you don't want to talk about it, that you're ashamed of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I see the complication areas.
It's a little bit of I'm still learning, you know. I believe, in my point of view, I'm quite new, a culture to learn, not something to learn from one day to the other. I live in Holland for 8 years also. That's completely different spectrum of the whole system.
Yes.
But in Germany has been quite of a challenge in many ways, but it's a blessing also in many, many more ways.
Well, you know, that's inspiring to hear. And if you look at, you know, from the perspective of my Canadian perspective, I've been here pretty much my whole life, and still I've learned more in the last year. You know what I mean? Than the rest of my time, you know, on the soil. So that there's always a process, there's always a learning process that's going on. And we are empowering ourselves with this now. I'm not even talking about the next generation. We are empowering ourselves with this information, which is really good.
Definitely. And that's how, then I always come back to my child, you know. What I say to Hanalua, what she gets, like, she got from a friend of mine, I mean, the wife of a good friend of mine. She's an English girl, and she's a black girl. Yes. And she came to visit us, and Hanalua was 2 years old, and she brought Hanalua Barbie. And her husband, that's one of my best friends, my dearest friend, he said to her, Caroline, she's not going to allow Hanalua to have a Barbie. I told her, Hanalua doesn't play with Barbies. Why is she going to play with Barbies? Yeah. What is the example that the Barbie is giving to a child? I want to understand this. I don't get it. When I see a child with a Barbie on the hands, these big boobies and red lipsticks, and you see then how children are being raised, and the example that children is getting, then you understand when you see the same thing here. That's also when you come to education. In Germany, the idea of education with a child is about Selbstständigkeit, is autonomy. Now the child is self-ständig. They have their own meaning. They have the rights of opinion. They have the rights of decision.
I follow you. Yes.
And that's a quite of a hardcore for me. I'm Brazilian. I was raised in a really bam family. There was no no, you're not sleeping out. You don't have boyfriends. You don't wear short clothes. You don't wear lipsticks. I never had this in my life, you know? So when I see children here with 12 years old wearing a leggings, wearing like a tongue in their ass and boobies out and full of makeup with 12, going to the doctor to get pills at 14, I'm like, no, this is not normal. This is not self-esteem. This is not building the confidence of a child. When you're allowed a child, 14, I was a child, Martin. My entire, until my 18th, was the first time I kissed a boy. You know what I mean? Of course, I don't know. I think it's really a cultural thing, you know?
It's a cultural thing. I see what you're saying. Like, the images and everything that we put out there, they force people to grow up so early.
So fast, exactly. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for my parents, the way how they raised me. I'm so grateful. You know, my father was like, Papa, today's the birthday of Karina. He's one of my best friends in Brazil. Okay, what time is the birthday? It's at 7. Okay, 8:30, I pick you up. That was my father. You know what I mean? And here you have children of 15 spending New Year's Eve with 10 friends on a pub. And I'm like, how is this again? I don't understand, you know? And then giving them a glass of wine. I'm like, my parents, they never drink alcohol. I'm also not, like, I drink a glass of red wine and that's enough for me. My body doesn't take alcohol. So I'm like, don't really get it. But in the same time, I'm learning to be able to teach also with the father of my child, say like, listen, that's not correct. And then I try to show him, which is quite a challenge for me.
Different upbringings, different cultures.
Exactly. And he has his whole family to back him up, you know. I have nobody. I have to
Right.
be 10 times stronger to be able to tell, listen, watch what's happened there, and that's what I don't want to happen to Honolulu. Watch what's happened here in the world, watch what's happened around us, and that's what I don't want to happen to Honolulu. She's going to have that experience. I want to be the first one going to say, baby, you want to smoke? You want to try? Let's try together. You want to have a joint? I want to be there to tell her what it is and what she's doing. Gotcha. You know what I mean? But absolutely. I want to be able to experience, to give her, me as an example, better than to do this in the streets.
Yes. As I used to say, and my brother, my wife and my brother on this post right now too. And I always say with my kids, I want to be the author of truth in their lives. I want to be the author of truth. I don't want the author to be an image or a doll or a movie or whatever, a rap song, whatever it is. They can hear all those different things, but I want them to get truth from me as to what the reality is. So let's compare what you heard compared to reality. No, this is how it goes. So yeah, those are the struggles, and you touched on so many rich topics today. So many things.
You're really such an amazing guy. I'm really feeling so much comfortable now. I was so Martin, I was talking to you, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. You can look at the message. I was in my bed like, oh my God, what did I do? Why did I accept it?
I didn't realize. I feel so bad because I'm just doing my standard like confirm, see you tomorrow, and I forgot about the time change. Not realizing that was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just sending you a confirmation.
3:45.
Oh. Felt so bad. I feel so terrible.
Okay.
But at the same time, I just like having your history of being in shows and TV and modeling and stuff, to be able to just talk. I didn't think that this would be such a feat, and you did great today. Really.
Thank you. Thank you. You're amazing. You're so good to talk with.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And all the people who've been watching today too. Thank you so much. People have been saying like really have been inspired on the levels of our Pilates and just taking it back to contrology and seeing how we can change lives. The title, having a Black-owned business and giving a positive connotation to Black, fill in the blank, everything, and then the other piece about being enslaved. I love that. And that really is changing the way that I look at that. Like I will probably, I'll catch myself every time I say slaves as opposed to people who are enslaved or the enslaved. Those are two different things. So you've really changed my paradigm with the things that we've talked about today.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Power to the people. That's the only thing we have to make sure. Just stay strong and just speak out, take actions. Do the best you can to lift all of us up. That's not about all lives matter. It's about Black lives matter. When Black lives matter starts to matter, then everything else is gonna matter too. But for now, we have to stand for our people. And I'm here. Be strong.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you. Okay. I hope to see you someday.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Core Conversations. This organic platform has been made possible by amazing people like yourself. So if you're a Pilates instructor or a movement specialist of some kind and you want to be a guest, please message me. If you're in some other field and the messages just resonate with you, message me. I'd love to have you on. All of our messages connect, and for some reason they all help us in this battle. We're all in this game together, so I'd love to hear from you. Let your words be life to someone else. Check out our website, personalvictory.ca. Click the Core Conversations page to see who our upcoming guests are, and I will see you next time on Core Conversations.